we're just aware of how we're positioning ourselves. We start by grounding. So however it is that your body is sitting, and that we're aware of just how the body feels. We're aware of what we're about to do. And so it's nice to be comfortable as we're doing this. I mean, imagine if you took yourself into some like lotus pose or something, that would be like, the body would just be suffering, So we don't need to take any, special physical shape. Now, you could, if it's okay, you could close your eyes. You might just take a few deeper breaths. So at first, we're really just arriving here. You might be very aware of kind of the responsibilities you're putting aside, whatever are your current stressors or unresolved stuff that you're figuring out. You just put it aside. Your whole to-do list, you're putting it down. It's like one of the things on your to-do list is to put down your to-do list and give yourself some space. So with these deeper breaths, there's a grounding feeling, whether it's your feet, buttocks, just a feeling of settling and grounding. And then even taking in this sound of the bell, we practice like as we hear the sound of the bell, it's like, oh, it's time. Even that sound is like a clarity. So part of initially is being still. You might even bring in the image of muddy water, and when it comes to stillness, how the mud starts to settle. So just due to stopping, what it feels like to stop. And things start to settle. We're not stirring things up. We're not stirring the mud. It's settling. Maybe you can feel this. Sometimes you feel in the body like the belly just relaxing. A softening happening. So we're putting things down now. This This isn't like we're escaping or running away from our responsibilities. You might even, sometimes we can just see or feel kind of, wow, I really needed to do this. My mind was all over the place and kind of still is, but it's settling. The settling takes some time. That's why we stay, we practice being still. And how we can create space. So we kind of play with these words: grounding, stopping, and then just creating space within a feeling. Maybe your throat, like, just kind of relax, calm space of the throat or the mouth. I like to imagine space even around my eyes. Feels good where the eyes are calm. Or inside the body, space in the chest. So rather than being constricted or tight, that we can physically start to feel open. Space inside your skull, around your brain. And at any point, sometimes it helps to take a couple deeper breaths. The breath just moving through this space. Like, it's still grounding. Still arriving here. Now, of course, we might feel kind of pulled into the future. Like, I want to think about that thing later today. Or a memory comes in and like, these can come in like a big wave. But then we remember, I'm grounding, I'm putting things down. So this is the work. We understand we're here to do some work. I'm putting that down right now. And bring attention to like, well, what else is here? What am I sensing? Feel the breath moving through the nose. And then notice if you hear any sounds. Are there any sounds around you? This is a good way of arriving here where those sounds were there, but you weren't really hearing them. And now you're practicing. Oh, I hear sounds. Sounds are a great way of being very open. We don't know what sound we're going to hear next. What else are you sensing? Or in your body, like any tension, could you start to soften or relax your whole face? Like just the skin on your face. I'm softening. So these small ways now that we're letting go and practicing, letting go of tension. So we have these two, I like playing with these qualities of being just relaxed, a little bit of that. I'm letting go of tension. But, if we relax too much, we'll just kind of collapse and turn into a blob or possibly fall asleep. So, there's a brightness and alertness also. I'm interested in what this settling feels like. It feels like this full stop. You might notice, stopping is challenging. And then finally, if it's okay, we'll all just practice bringing in what is this kind of anchor of watching the breath. Because one thing I'm certain of is that we're all breathing. And so bring awareness to, just notice breathing and where you can feel your breath, whether it's breath moving through the nose. You could even feel the breath in your belly, that little wave of movement. And when you inhale, you could say to yourself, inhale, inhale. And when you exhale, you're noting exhale or exhaling. This can be a way of giving the mind a couple words. You might even say, inhaling alertness, exhaling calm. When you're inhaling, you can feel like your whole presence. I'm present, I'm here. And the exhaling, like calm, grounded. These two really simple instructions can keep you in the present. What do you notice? It might be what you're feeling kind of inside your body. It might be something happening around you. So even in that time, that practice time, I could say that was a short meditation, but my guess is probably a lot happened in that time, of what you noticed. The mind is so fast that you might notice like, wow, I have to just kind of keep coming back. And this is the first lesson usually for us is how many times we have to remind ourselves, oh yeah, what am I doing? Oh, that's right. I'm practicing, I'm in meditation class. So this short time can be kind of a long time to practice to do this work. And you might have noticed, like when I rang the bell, then at the end, like, oh, like, well, that didn't go so well, or, oh, wow, I'm really feeling calm today. And And we don't need to, move into any kind of judgment of success or failure. It's good to just appreciate having, even taking that amount of time to practice being connected. So as we move into our little mini lesson for today, I'm going to bring in one of my favorite phrases, like how the teachings can be really so simple and yet take so long to really work on. And I don't want to use to master them, but and this is from the teacher Ajahn Analayo. And he, in studying some of the Buddhist teachings, he turned them into this really succinct phrase. And maybe in a past class I've brought this up, but he said, really in summation, what we're doing, he said, is to keep calmly knowing change. So there's these 4 words. Keep calmly knowing change. So there's a lot in those 4 words. Just to kind of go over what each one of them is pointing to. So to keep knowing, when we keep, that means that we're kind of holding it. We're holding this, our awareness. We keep our attention here, right? I mean, that in itself, as we've authentically experienced, is hard. So we, take it to heart. Like, I'm sure, Ajahn Analayo is not saying, and, this is easy. Now, it can be easy to do in a moment. Like, okay, take a breath. I feel like, yeah, I'm here. But it's the sustaining of it, the keeping of it is really the work. It's challenging. So we know it's challenging. We can, but in understanding that we could bring in a sense of compassion. Like, honey, this is hard. This is really challenging work. But I'm going to practice, wholeheartedly. And then the second word, to keep calmly. Well, that would make sense. I don't want to keep doing this with tension. Like, when am I going to relax? I'm trying to relax. And so it would make sense that we have this quality of being calm. And again, this can be in the moment, like, okay, I'm going to practice letting go. But this too can take a while, imagining that kind of that mud, that instead of stirring it up, like, oh, I want to find peace, that, okay, well, if I want to, that there's this grounding, this calming that we do over and over again. Keep calmly. And then the knowing is interesting because I find that you'll know when you're generating these. Like, okay, I know that I have a tendency to be distracted. So when we notice, like, oh my gosh, I'm distracted, that's a moment of knowing. Oh, so I know this, like what it feels like to be so when I'm distracted, I'm not knowing. I'm distracted. So when we have a moment of non-distraction, like, oh, yeah, this is what it feels like to really be here. And again, it's this practice of knowingly coming back. And then our the fourth word is change. And this is pretty much the understanding which can kind of, well, I guess it's not so much taught, but it's experienced. Wow, things change. Another way of, I sometimes think of this as like keep calmly knowing that things are impermanent and I can't control them. You know, things are going to change in a way that I might not want them to change, you know, or they do. But I just know that change, like this is this whole understanding, teaching of impermanence. So when we kind of weave these together, I think it's helpful. It's a really beautiful teaching. Like sometimes I just imagine all of these past teachers, and they're sending this wish, like, honey, keep calmly knowing change. And kind of standing like firmly in this, which I love because as we're standing in it, it's changing. So they'll often describe it, it's interesting kind of this firm ground of change. So I'm just going to play with this phrase and see every time that if we were to bring this in, you know, it might land differently as you practice it. You know, the calm, you might feel like, you know, I'm able to really establish this feeling of calm. But then it's going to change, you know, things change, like, oh, reestablish. So I'm going to invite you to come to your practice position again, knowing, again, it's just nice to be pretty, you know, relatively comfortable as you practice. And then taking in the sound of the bell. Now, we don't have to concern ourselves or worry about how long am I going to have to meditate. You know, we could really set ourselves up like, I don't think I can sit here for another 5 minutes. If we let go of that, and we understand, oh, it's really about this moment. And just this moment of calmly knowing change. What would this feel like? This calm feeling, a grounded feeling. One practice we did earlier was working with sounds. And how we don't know, like sounds will really change. We don't know what's coming next. Can we calmly know, be aware of the changing sounds? And then, of course, other things are changing. Moment to moment. Can we stay open, calm when things change? It's good to keep in mind that we do this naturally at times. You may have found yourself in a situation where something suddenly changed. And you tell yourself or people you're with, like, it's okay. We can roll with this. It's okay. And you stay open and grounded and relaxed. And this it feels wise. We probably have all had those moments. I could get really angry about this change. Or I could deeply know and understand, like, this is nature. Be aware of your whole body. The body changes. We all have experienced this. This might even, we might notice or learn, maybe there's somewhere something happening in your life that's changing, and you can just feel the resistance. So as we practice calmly, knowing change, it might feel like, no, I am not going to be calm. So in a formal practice like this, then the best sometimes we can do is just soften or relax your face. Just a little bit of the body at ease. All these small practices, like I'm going to soften my throat. This kind of wordless experience of calm, calm. Our practice doesn't end with just being calm, but it really does have to start by establishing this calm, grounded quality. So it can be, it's kind of good at the end of practice to notice things like, just physically how you feel after doing that work, kind of what's happened. And there might be things, of course, like as we grow our understanding of this work, which is always just little by little how we understand. And then, the practice, like kind of living it or doing the practice. We can learn sometimes really little things every time that we practice. This is just kind of how it works. It's an ongoing